It's time to get into our fourth game of the day. I'm amped for it. This is the one we've been really looking forward to. It feels like this is going to be a fantastic matchup here, Pete.
It's got to be. I mean, we got Misfits 2-1, only lost to K-Corp, and before today, you know, that was going to be like a really big deal. I'm still going to keep it a big deal in my mind because I think overall Misfits have been playing quite well. LDLC, on the other hand, 3-0, surprising us a little bit with their strong early performances. I think this is going to be a great matchup, give us an idea of LDLC really here to hang, or maybe those early matches weren't as convincing as we thought.
That's right. We will have to find out, but into the draft we go here, ladies and gentlemen. It will be Caitlyn, Action, and LeBlanc taken away, and how about a Gwen, Vex, and Twisted Fate? So a lot of mid lane bans coming in here for Phase 1, and no surprise, we've been seeing a lot of priority here on the Thresh, and we'll get it once again here for Game 4.
Such a strong pick. It feels like I wanna look at the stats later and find out what the win rate is, just because it's got to be something ridiculous at this point. We've seen so many plays come through. The Aphelios hover is definitely interesting on Misfits' side. They could look to take it away if they want to and just pair it with something like a Nautilus, even a Lulu. We've seen some people do as well, just because of the fact that I think Thresh Aphelios is the winning combo of the day. It's 2-0 right now.
It's 2-0. It's been very strong thus far, but they are going to at least take away the Jinx. That has slipped through the cracks. It's something that we tend to see when the Thresh obviously is left up here for the first pick and you haven't taken away. So we'll get that in the Xin Zhao. So already some early jungle pressure already coming in here for the side of Misfits.
Yeah, and I think for the most part, we've been seeing Yike play the Xin Zhao, so I'm wondering what he's going to be leaning towards this game. Maybe more jungle more early jungle priority, but never mind. Now we're starting to see more early priority on the Akali. It is coming back, and it's nice this early too because it's functionally a flex pick. You can run it mid, and with this new tank pick, it's actually very formidable in the top lane.
It's very strong. I mean, you have this ability to flex, which it doesn't feel like there's a lot of champions in the meta right now that you actually can flex around. We see Corki, you know, maybe the Akali, but there isn't that many of them overall. So we'll see how the Akali does. Ronaldo just popped off on it on the last game, so I'm very excited to be able to watch over it. But we will also see, it looks like the Braum, I believe, coming through here for the very last pick. Gonna pair that with the Jinx, try to give it maybe just a bit of peel, bit of security here in a lot of the team fights.
Right, and maybe that potential follow-up here. Of course, Braum does prefer to peel back, hang back. You can potentially start things off. If you land that Winter's Bite, if you land that Glacial Fissure, that could be a way for Misfits to go into these fights here. And I think with the Kali diving into the backline, any way you can kind of slow her down, maybe with those concussive blows, I think is going to be very, very impactful.
Yes, absolutely it will be. And, well, the Jarvan, I think, is an excellent ban because you do not want your Jinx jumped on by a Cataclysm and then a perfect execution on top of that. That just sounds like a death trap. So I love that ban coming through. And, of course, you're going to take it a second jungler here as you have this in Zhao. So going to remove the Lee Sin. So a lot of high-priority junglers have at least been taken away here for Phase 2.
And I like that. Getting rid of the Lee Sin especially is another one of the big early jungle picks there that we've been seeing along with Xin Zhao. So what are we going to see Yike go for in this early game? Again, for the most part, we've only seen the Xin. Will he bring out the Viego? I mean, there will still be openings for him in the early game if he wants to go that route, but we're going to have to see. It depends. Can he get themselves a priority top laner as well, since top picks are starting to be taken out? I think that Jax ban does tell me LDLC kind of looking for maybe the Camille, or maybe they're banning it away because that's going to really be a Kali top.
Oh,
wow!
Xerath coming into play. We have seen Scarlet play some of the Xerath here in the LFL, and he looked fantastic on it. Now, that was paired with something like the Jhin, so it was almost like you're playing a mini game of dodgeball. This one, you will have to set it up a little bit, but it's perfect for the Akali. You can kind of weaken some of these players up so that she can actually go in with some of these executions.
And I think the thing I really like about it too, now we know Aka, a player we've been honestly pretty impressed with early on with all his performances. Him having a Xerath in his back pocket doesn't surprise me. I've just expected from him at this point, and we're gonna see if he can actually find some of this early value later on when he starts to scale up. And like you said, setting up Ragnar, another player who's definitely been impressing me. I think LDLC, of course, team of surprises so far in the early season. Ragnar, one of the more unique champ pools. He was the one to first bring.
And here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Match number 4 on the day for week number 2, day number 2. LDLC, like we just said, 3-0, looking to stay flawless. Misfits Premier looking for a big bounce back here, trying to see if they can keep this train rolling. They are 2-1. They have looked like one of the more solid squads, and we'll see if they have what it takes to go up against LDLC here, beat down.
You know what, Austin? To kind of expand on your earlier question about who else I'm looking for, I think I'm actually looking at Chayak now that I think about it. One, he's playing the Victor champion, whereas a lot of carry potential in the later parts of the game when he really scales up. I think Chayak instrumental to that very same comeback we were referencing with how good he was playing on the Corki. So I think he definitely has the tools to be able to help get his team over the finish line here. Very interesting that he is running the Ghost as well. We've actually been talking about a little bit.
We have been.
And it's really interesting to see mid laners actually bring this instead of TP, because there are technically, if you do want to go for these roam plays, you can use it to position yourself a little differently in ways people would not expect.
Yeah, and I think to add on to that too, it is really good when it comes to team fighting, and Victor has all that additional movement speed where he's able to get in there with that Chaos Storm, kite his way out with the Q. A lot of different ways to be able to actually be effective with the Ghosts. We'll certainly be watching for it, because I know we have had a lot of conversations around it, but either way, we switch over towards the bot lane right now, already seeing just how strong Thresh is. A couple of cleanses will come out. Doss is going to eat a couple rockets, but Woolite already losing a huge chunk of that health bar.
Right, and Woolite, player Misfits like to play towards, so much so that he's the only returning player in 2022.
Whoa.
Oh, he's got some help.
Oh, he does. That's going to be a flash. Exit kick has to get out of there. Doss is going down, and well, the early trading will not pay off. Woolite, he will be able to grab a first blood.
And I was just going to go into this whole point, too, about how, you got to play around the Jinx. We haven't been seeing a whole lot of that today. And Tanks, he just shuts me right up. Goes for the 2 camp into the gank. Ends up working exceptional.
Chayak, he's actually able to kind of fend off both players here at once, and you can see Yike has put himself in a position where he obviously wants to punish the level 2 gank, which we are going to go back and watch.
Right, and you can see it. I think partially it didn't. I don't think this is something Tinks necessarily planned to do. He's going for that second camp. Realized his bot lane is in a lot of trouble, and because they come out on the bottom end of this trade, he realizes, okay, Thresh and Aphelios, they're feeling themselves right now. That's not acceptable. I'm going to take care of that.
Take care of it indeed, as you'll see Vander even flash just to make sure. And Doss held on to it, which I think is obviously the correct play in that situation. No need to waste it. You're pretty much dead there either way. Tinks is behind you, so still has that summoner available. And how about that hook? Leaving it. Threading the needle. Won't be a lot of damage. Will be the unbreakable shield that pops up here. But Woolite still under fire, and Doss still showing, hey, I got my flash, and I'm still landing hooks.
That's right, and that's really nice coming here from Doss again. That's so much value in this Thresh pick if you're able to land these death sentences, set up these plays for your team. I think besides that, things have really slowed down a little bit for the moment. Again, like we were talking about a champ select, Yike usually on these early game junglers won't have as much of an impact early on, and that's what the laners need to expect.
I think Ragnar should be okay. Might have to flash, but he doesn't have the flash. He's got Ignite, and that means that Tinks has now found another angle to find a successful gank, shutting down Ragnar here at the top side early.
Oh, it's just been all Tinks in this early game, Austin. He's setting up plays for his laners at moments where Yike is not able to do so, punishing Ragnar, not having the flash, means he is going to have to TP back to lane, and then he realistically he even gets a nice little deep vision ward, gets the timer on that Grump, is going to have an idea of where Yike is, can start letting his bot laners know, hey, that Viego, he's probably on your side of the map.
Ragnar now has to push out this wave, and like you said, does not have Yike with him, so might be a little bit nervous, but you'll find out where Tinks is very soon here, as Yike is going to be in some trouble. Going to eat a lot of damage, and that is the reset advantage. Tinks, is he going to have enough in him to solo kill? Yike, the lantern coming in.
The hook?
Will there be a flash over the wall? But he still brings home the kill. Now looking for the bot lane to get a little mixy here. Flash from Shayak. They'll come down. They will collapse, and it'll ultimately be a 1-for-2 in favor of Misfits.
Not happy about the 1v1. Exakick tries to get a little more and ends up getting punished. That's 2-0 for Woolite on this Jinx, and that is something to be afraid of. This is the champion where we haven't been seeing her do so good on the day. Well, this is the lead that she definitely likes to have in the early moments here. We have a lot of trading mid lane, but ultimately Woolite in a really good position to succeed now, and all because of these plays Tanks has been making. I want to highlight too, like the fact that he came down instead of going for the invade like Yike expected, I think is a big read. He knows he's not there. He's thinking, let me reset. Let me go see if I can catch this guy just to make sure he can't dive my bot lane.
A nice punish coming through indeed. Ragnar back to the top side. He's now been under a little bit more pressure against Irrelevant who's been able to pick up the whip here, and Ragnar is just going to have to try to do his best to survive, and that is really, I mean, the trade-off of not taking the flash here, right? Beats down, you opted for the Ignite, you want to make sure that you have a lot of kill threat, especially against a Renekton that gets that dominance, has that additional healing here, so you certainly get the idea behind it, but that does also open up for Tinks to come through whenever he wants to, especially before 6 and you have that ultimate.
And, well, Tinks is already on this top side of the map, could potentially be looking here, especially with Irrelevant holding that wave. But you have to be expecting this too if you're LDLC. They could make a play for this dragon if they really want to, and you can see it. Jungle support linking up for the squad. But Vander and Wulai, they do a good job of playing interference, dropping the choppers, taking that scuttle crab to make sure that anything LDLC does is going to be known by Misfits.
Yeah, Tinks wasn't even there, but, you know, they're not 100% sure either, right? So, like, hey, man, I want my scuttle crab. Yikes, just, like, trying to come down, pick up some more additional farm, also secure some vision around this dragon that will likely be prioritized here in the future, but the bot lane says no, and then they get to go back to the lane and collect all of that CS. Also, mind you, 2-0 still for Woolite, so he's got a lot more fighting power here in him, as you're also going to see the level 6 now for Exa Kicks. So we'll see if this dragon comes into play. Tinks has been rotating constantly, just clearing out his camps, making sure that he's always on the move here on either side of the map. So, and that's also going to be a reset that comes through here for Yikes. So it'll be interesting to see if they try to come for a lane gank, which it appears like Tinks is coming down for.
Right, they did manage to get a deep ward from DOS, but it's not going to spot them out, and you can see it. Just waiting for that cannon to go down, and that's it. He's in lane. The hook is there. They want to go in, but they're not gonna. That
was a disciplined play.
I like it.
A lot of threshes, at least in my games, absolutely went in there.
There it is.
I like that out of DOS. Holds the patient play, won't follow up on the hook, but certainly shows us that he can land these skill shots. He's also level 4 too, so we have to keep that in mind. He is still gonna be a little bit squishy if he does end up going all in without that aftershock as well. Not being taken anymore as the rune. So Tinks is going to be spotted, but he will go back to farming here. Should be very close to his level 6. Interesting to see what Yike's going to be able to do, because he's now been on the back foot here, Beatdown, where he's just been farming. That's typically what we expect out of the Viego.
Right.
But you also do have avenues to be able to set up here for a lot of your laners, as you're going to see now Ike come through and be able to grab that blue buff for himself.
So I think the interesting thing here is that Yike himself isn't necessarily falling behind, but you're right. What Tinks has been able to get ahead of him in is pressure around the map. So it's really LDLC and Yike's laners who are struggling a little bit, considering some of the early gold that's going. Oh, hold on.
All right, that's the flash. Irrelevant. Does he have it in him to try and turn this around? Tinks is now right behind him, but it's also going to be matched. Mega Death Rocket is coming on up, but it's not going to hit anything. And now that Rift Trail that was started up will be now under contention, but it's going to be secured here from Tinks. Yike has to use the Heartbreaker to get himself out, and Irrelevant also able to dodge out here from the ultimate on Xerath.
Yeah, LDLC not really coming out positive on any of these neutral objectives. There's still the dragon to play for, and you can see the pings coming through. Maybe they want to go for it, but ultimately you can see it again. Woolite and Vander are down here, potentially going to push out this wave and set up the play, but I think Tinks actually will just hold off. He's clearing his whole top side. He's going to get that empowered recall and see where he can make a play. I bet we see him go top, or rather to the bot lane. Just continue putting gold into Woolite's pocket, because at this point, he's already 2-0. Any other place is just gravy.
Yike's going to be able to grab this Scuttle Crab, and we'll try to make a move here for the dragon. It is going to be a reset that's coming through for Woolite. It's not going to be on the map here for the time being, but it looks like reset's pretty much right across the board. Ike has been doing his job of just basically keeping Shayak in lane, but he's going to have his flash up very soon. Ike also important to note that he will have his TP up very soon. Won't be unleashed for another 4 minutes, but we'll see exactly what happens now on our screen as Ragnar has used the Shroud. That is a really key important part of the kit to make sure that you can get yourself out of harm's way. Perfect execution is not up, but can Ragnar try to stall out for it? That will be the question. Relevant should be able to walk up with the stun. Tinks will be able to layer it, and that is a dead Ragnar here again.
Really nice attention into the top lane. Ragnar definitely getting a lot more ire than from the last game with Ronaldo playing the Akali, so falling behind this much is going to hurt a little bit here, trying to reach to that second item spike, because as nice as the Turbo Chem Tank is, the Akali's damage isn't really going to get there later unless you get that Demonic Embrace.
Bot lane is certainly scrapping the Lantern. not in a position to really be taken.
Oh,
but how about a flash?
Okay.
Extra Kick says, I'm also a top 80 carrier in the league, Woolite. Better start watching out for me. But the jungler is now in the mix. Tinks finds the angle, and now he'll be in some trouble too. But Doss, as he went too far forward, Vander here with them. Heartbreaker comes in with Vander with the perfect stopwatch. But now the ultimate. Here comes Ica with the snipe, taking down the jungler. It is an absolute scrap here in the bot lane.
And still, we have these fights coming through. Now it's the mid laners fighting it out. Ica is going to get the better of Chayek this time. But overall, still pretty solid play coming through from LDLC. Would have been a little better if Tinks wasn't able to get that kill over the wall. But it was a nice find by him as well. Still no one going for the first dragon. We're 11 minutes in, Austin, and the team is just not interested. It's all about Rift Heralds. It's all about turret plates. Dragons, whatever.
Yeah. What's the dragon? Not important in this game, apparently.
Never heard of her.
Shayek is going to drop the Chaos Storm here, but Shayek's going to have to give up this wave. I don't think he can stay any longer. A couple more Qs, and you're going to be going back to the fountain.
One way or another.
Your wishes, yeah. Absolutely. As he's going to continue to pour in the pressure. There it is, the Comet. Ica's like, yeah, stay around, one more. Come up for that caddy. I dare you to. And while that happens, that mid lane pressure has finally led to the first dragon being taken here for LDLC.
That's right. It's going to be a least soul if that ends up coming through at all. But ultimately, you are going to get yourself some neutral objectives on the side of LDLC. They're going to go back to farming. Everybody is just going to relax a little bit. But because of that, Tinks can get Scuttle top. He can look maybe for a play mid or an invade potentially. Or he's just going to drop the Herald.
Drop the Herald.
Probably expiring.
Get some plates here in the mid lane. Likely right. Might not have too much time on it. So Tinks is going to collect that gold and just try to knock down some more health on that turret, as it looks like it's going to be a reset here now. 4-2-1 right now for Tinks. He's been very involved throughout this early game, and it has played a pretty important factor here for them so far. Shayek gets back to lane. We'll see how long that health bar stays intact, because Leandres now has been picked up here for Ica.
Yeah, that is going to be something. It's going to be really important to get that max health damage onto people like Tinks, like Irrelevant, who are just going to be stacking a buttload of health, because Ica is going to be one of the big damage dealers alongside his 80 carry. Now we're finally getting to the point, too, where Yike, he can't actually participate in some of these skirmishes now that he's gotten past the level 6. He has that Divine Sunderer built. He actually can do a lot of work with his full combo, with that Heartbreaker, and once these fights, especially with the poke and DPS they have, LDLC gets one pick in a team fight. And of course, we know Viego starts taking souls, starts resetting. It's really fun.
It can be when you're playing it, for sure.
Oh, yeah.
And there is the wave just being shoved in right now for Exakick, who has now been in a position where it feels like he's starting to take some control over the bot lane. That was after a couple early kills going over to Woolite here as well. So striking back red and white right now for the guns on the Aphelios. There is no objective to fight over, but there is a jungler to potentially pick, and it looks like they're going to pull the trigger. Caressing Guard keeps Tinks very safe. Vander is going to come through, still has that Glacial Fissure if they want to try for some kind of a re-engage, but it looks like just a small scrap here inside of the jungle, fighting over some vision, but nothing else will come of it.
So far, Ragnar, and actually both Ragnar and Irrelevant have been just continuously being on their own in the top lane. We just got unlocked TPs. We're about halfway till getting Ragnar's back. And hold on, wow, is he dead?
Maybe. Nice sidestep here. Shayek gonna try to survive, but he is feeling the pressure right now of the Xerath.
Oh, the flash!
Oh, Ico is feeling himself, but
I like it.
It won't be a kill. Simply just gonna have to be Shayek taking a reset.
Right, and I mean, he just got back. He's getting forced out of lane. That is the thing about not having TP. But hopefully the Ghost will still come in handy when Shayek gets into this team fight stage. And now that the TPs are unlocked, people like Aka, Ragnar, and technically Irrelevant can make these cross-map plays now for some of these fights that are coming up here. Misfits, they have that advantage over Ragnar. Irrelevant wants to make a flank play of some kind, especially with this Rift Herald being up.
Looks like they are going to try to move on to here. Both junglers are in proximity of thinking about starting this one up. You can also see a roam that just came through there from Doss, but I don't think they want to pull the trigger on anything just yet. LDLC are a little bit behind, 2K to be specific at 15 minutes, but we also have unleashed teleports. I wouldn't say there's too many teleports up right now besides Irrelevant, so he's going to be in a good position in the top lane. He's already, finding a lot of favor versus Ragnar, who now has also picked up his very first item. Tinks wants to move into the red buff, but I don't think you want to follow that one up there, buddy. Doesn't have a whole lot of support. Will be a couple players down low in the tri-brush, and now Yike wants to pull the trigger, but the death sentence will fall short. Tinks down to about half HP. Yike's just going to bully him out of my jungle, saying, saying, no, this red buff's mine, get out of here, and now they'll go back to farming.
Still, I like the aggression. Tinks, 4, 2, and 1. It's been the fruits of his labor in this early game here, Austin, and overall, I think it's going to be what's getting them, still going to get them, pressure over this next objective. We got a minute till Dragon. And unless,
whoa.
oh, he's
Wind becomes lightning, Tinks pulls the trigger, DOS is low, but has the flash. Mega Death Rocket's gonna get him even lower, but the Death Sentence is now gonna pull Rander right back in. Reset City, here comes Yike. Does he want to re-engage? Throws up the shield as he's gonna hold on to the Braum, but on the side, Shayak says, I am sick of you in the mid lane poking me out, and you don't have your flash anymore. It's my time to shine.
He ends up getting the kill. We're in a tough spot at the moment here. You're 1 for 1, but Aka is not here at the moment here, but Exakick feels strong enough. They want to pressure him. Irrelevant is in trouble.
I don't think they want to pull the trigger. Tinks is also nearby. So it looks like they're finally going to back down, but Ragnar wants to get some revenge for his mid laner. Beautiful Shuriken Ragnar showing up on the Akali.
Hey, finally, he gets to do something, Austin. He gets to do something besides get pressured in lane, gets to assassinate somebody, and we're starting to see this tankiness start to come through with that Turbo Chem tank. Nice play from Ragnar. He can TP back to lane if he so chooses, and we're just starting to get a little taste of what this Akali is like with this tanky build, because Chag, he was throwing some damage at him, and I mean, look at his health. He was almost full.
Yeah, not sure if we'll get a replay of that, but there's something about that Shuriken flip that hits where it's just so satisfying, right? You're just like, oh man, he's dead. He's low health, the Shuriken flip, he's coming back in. This is a nice spicy way to end off the kill here, and I'm sure Ragnar is going to be a little bit relieved, as that's going to be really one of his first positive plays of this game. But that does mean that Misfits now get to move for the Dragon as we go back to that 1v1 here in the mid lane.
That's right, he starts off with the perfect execution, and ultimately, this was Chayak. He wasn't even trying. He knew he was donezo, so he just tried to run away from it if he could, but the Shuriken flip was undodgeable. Now, worth noting, off-screen, Misfits, they take the Dragon for themselves here. We know it's an Infernal Rift, it's 1 Dragon apiece, and we're also at 17 minutes, so I have a feeling we're probably not going to see Dragon's Toll, especially if they keep going back and forth in Dragons, but ultimately, it is still something you can try and play for, especially if you're on the side of Misfits. That extra burst damage, I think, would be very helpful in terms of finishing off this game.
That's going to be the very first tower coming in now, as Misfits get themselves on the board to even up LDLC's first tower. And Woolite, of course, getting the majority of that gold is going to be exactly where you want it to go. Has that Gale Force completed, working towards that second item. Yike's going to drop that Rift Herald he secured for himself over the wall, and that should also mean that this mid lane tower is going to drop here for us.
Right, and you can see the pings coming through. They might want to play for the tier 2 as well. Actually, Lily's low enough that it is probably donezo. But still, that is a bit of gold in LDLC's pocket. They're keeping this game relatively close, just under 2,000 gold in favor of Misfits. Still in a position where either one of these teams can really start to pull ahead now, because we're getting to this point where, of course, Xin Zhao, even though really strong early, will start to fall off in effectiveness just a little bit.
Whoa.
Oh, wow, Exakick?
Vander does throw up the shield here, blocks a lot of that damage coming in, and yeah, you do not want to fight Exakick right now, as he's got that completely stacked up there, and now we'll be able to continue to put pressure with the Shelcom. We'll see if he's going to be able to maybe push for the tower. You can see a little bit of cover coming through from Tinks, as he's also going to be in the bot side, but I think they're just going to have to give that one up, and that means they can now push forward here for their second tower.
You can see it now. Ragnar, after a pretty rough early game, he's starting to be able to apply some pressure onto Irrelevant there. He's now the one shoving him in, showing like, hey buddy, I hope you enjoyed that early game. That's over now. We're 20 minutes in. I'm almost at my second item. Like, take a back seat.
Back seat indeed here, and Ika's just been doing a good job of continuing to farm, but Shayak on the other side has also been able to keep up with him. As Ike's going to come and just shift through the mid lane, see if he might have an opportunity. Shayak doesn't have that tower anymore, so it's going to be a little bit pressured, and we'll have to kind of wait back to collect that wave, as it does give room for Ika to move to either side of the map if he wants to use that ultimate. He's been great with the rotations here thus far. We are going to get a bit of a swap up now in the top lane. Exakick's going to come up here, try to see if he can maybe start working towards this tier 1 here in the top lane as well.
Any extra gold in Exakick's pocket, we already saw the damage he could do. It only gets better from there. And it's interesting too, Woolite not in the area does mean that there is that potential 2v1. Actually, you got a lot of people moving to this top side of the map here. It is nice. You do want to be able to get this turret done. You can push this way further, and that's part of what's going to help you allow yourselves as LDLC to be able to push that deep vision line. set yourself in a position where you can try and bait the Baron, go for a turn, just because when you think about Thresh, when you think about the Xerath, they like when you are walking into them because it makes their kit that much easier to use.
Topside control for LDLC, and that's going to stop Shayak from walking up to this wave, and now Exakit can move back through. This might be the third tier 1 dropping, but that's the engage. Vander going to go wide with it. Doss is going to flash away, so going to be able to trade out the ultimate for the flash. He'll take that 10 times out of 10. Not bad overall. Trying to relieve some pressure so that Shayak is actually also safe to farm up here too.
Right, and I think Misfits, they're putting a lot just to keep hold of this tower, just to make sure, like, they understand as well, they want to control that vision line in their jungle, so they want to make sure that this minion wave can't be pushed out too far. Can they actually do something? There's the third play.
All right, good to see some damage come back, and instantly deleted as Doss. Exakit has to flash over the wall, does use that Moonlight visual to get a lot of his health back, but Ragnar, he's caught in the back line. Can he get himself out? Are going to see some snipes come down here, does a good amount of damage with the poke, but on the side, they're starting to run them down. Tinks is looking for the next target. I think it's going to be Yike. Can't close the gap just yet, but Misfits going to be able to take down a couple of members on LDLC, and now could maybe look at this Baron.
Yeah, this is a good call. No Moonlight Vigil available for Exakit. You don't have to worry about getting executed by Ragnar. He is not here, but Exakit, maybe he could put out the DPS. He is full health. The poke
Relevant
is so good.
Oh, Relevant's down.
They got him.
And now they got to run away. They've lost their top laner. They've lost a key tank here in the front line. That's going to soak up some of that damage, and yeah, you got to back off their beatdown. When there's a Viego in the area with low health bars, you do not want to be close.
That's right, and it's a really nice play coming through from Aka with the poke just to secure that kill, and that means he's not irrelevant, won't be up for the dragon spawning. He doesn't even have TP available either. Ragnar, he's actually moving his way towards this dragon as we speak. And that should be an easy secure for LDLC. Again, we're far and away from any actual Dragon Soul, but starting to stack these up, especially with how long this game potentially could go, is still going to be very, very impactful.
I like the itemization coming through here for Woolite, grabbing himself the Bloodthirster second. Last time we saw Scarlet play the Xerath into it, Jinx.
Yep.
It was constant chunking like you're basically seeing. So all this poke that comes through is more or less irrelevant as long as you're able to lifesteal off the wave or off of some camps here. So it's not going to have some of that attack speed that you crucially want as a Jinx player, but it's almost necessary to make sure that you're going to be able to stay alive.
And now, even though Misfits were pushed off the Baron, they still have control over this area. Because of how strong they are at the moment, how easily Tinks can start off a lot of these team fights, as he has been doing. That does mean LDLC also wanting to hold on to this top tower are going to try to clear waves, try and see if they can prevent it from falling, so that they will be allowed to move into the river at some point. But you can see it. 4 members of Misfits are here, potentially setting up for, what, top dive?
All right, Tinks, he has just been in the fray of it all. He's in all alone, 1v3, and now Exakit has caught it with no flash. Chaos Storm comes down, and they will take down the AD carry. Now getting excited is going to be Woolite. They have found the bot lane. They are out of the picture. LDLC, they are on the run, and Misfits take another successful fight and now can move back to the big purple worm.
Oh, man, it's going to be tough. This time Ragnar is here, but Exakit is out of the picture. That's a lot of DPS gone. Without Doss, that's a lot of CC out of the picture as well, but they want to try and play it anyway. You still have the Xerath poke, and look at Shayak, he's on the flank.
Shayak is here from the side. Ragnar has to use the perfect execution to try and escape. One more autumn is going to lock him up with a concussive blow, but Shayak can't close the gap. They can't get in. However, they do keep them off of the Baron. Will they opt in? Shayak, let's show us your fancy feet. We'll be able to dodge out of the majority of that. The Misfits, they're not done your beatdown. They're going to try again.
Yeah, they can't let this one go. This is how Misfits accelerate the game to the end here. LDLC, they're doing their best. Yike, he doesn't have the Heartbreaker. He has to use the Blast Cone if he wants to make it over.
All right, Yike. Let's see your best hero impression as the poke comes down. Ike is doing damage. Vander's very low, and now the bot lane's back. It's looking horrible for Misfits, and it's stolen away from Ragnar. LDLC, they have made the play, and now they will clean up the team fight. What a massive move for LDLC to get back back in the game.
What a clutch. They stole long enough for Exakick to get back into the picture. All the Baron damage tenderizes Misfits. Nice and good, just the way LDLC like it. You can see it. Thresh and Aphelios, they are walking up from base as all this poke from Aka is coming through, as Yike is just waiting for his opportunity to get into the pick. And of course, Ragnar lands that Shuriken flip, allows him to take down Vander. No support, and it's just easy for Exakick to come do the rest.
And look at that, layering down the smite and the Akali damage.
Yep.
Enough to take and steal that Baron. And those health bars, well, they're not existent anymore for Misfits. They opt into going back, and I guess they lose track of the death timers there, B-Town, with the bot lane. Sure, so. You picked them, but that was like a whole minute ago.
It was, and honestly, that stuff does tend to happen with teams where you think it's a 3 versus 5, for example. You don't really realize you're in the moment trying to take this Baron. You're like, wait a second, how long has it been? And then the Aphelios comes in with the Moonlight Vigil, and you're like, ah, crap. And that's just how it ends up happening. Misfits ended up taking too long. They got thwarted one too many times, which was enough for LDLC to come make this play. And now Tinks, yeah, he's got to run away. He doesn't want to go after Exakick anymore.
Yeah, very thankful for that. Blascone being there to get him over the wall, or else he was probably going to eat a death sentence to the face, or would have been forced to flash. But LDLC starting to work away here and chip at some of the towers. First one is going to drop in the bot lane. Tier 2 is going to go down. Irrelevant has actually been taken very low, and Ica is going to be able to find the snipes here on the ultimate. Das eats quite a bit of damage in return, but he goes into the stopwatch and makes sure there will be no 1-for-1 in the mid lane.
There it is, more gold picked up across the map here with this Baron power play. That's going to be 6K gained by LDLC, putting them up to 3K ahead of Misfits just from that one fight. And all the stalling they did, they are going to manage to turn things around. We're going to get a replay, see what happened to Irrelevant here, and it's looking like Ragnar for the most part happened, and then the rest of LDLC.
Wow.
Yeah.
Just like every single skill shot hit there. I mean, that was just beautifully executed, landing everything, and then the Mega Death Rocket coming in, but Das with the quick finger on the stopwatch makes sure that he'll keep his life for now. So a good position at the moment. LDLC have taken control over that gold lead, looking at about 3,000 ahead. 2 dragons to their name, and talking about those dragons beat down, number 3, it's about to come up here in about 5 seconds.
Right, LDLC soul point for this Infernal Soul is coming up. Misfits, not a whole lot they're going to be able to do about it. So much so Tinks is farming his Raptors, spending more time on this top side of the map. No one can even do anything about Exakick pushing out this mid lane. And what that means is this next couple of minutes are going to be very crucial for Misfits. If they can't find their way back in, assuming LDLC don't win a fight and then the game, they have to deal with this next dragon coming up, because Soul will definitely be the nail in the coffin.
By that point, I assume you're certainly hoping that item number 3 is going to come through here for Woolite. Should also have his flash at that point, pending nothing else ends up happening here. But 2.5 minutes on the Baron, that might also end up drawing quite a bit of attention over to the pit here. But LDLC, they've taken full control over the map. Look at them moving in here, starting to clear out some of this vision, laying down their own vision line. And it looks like they're setting up this wave to start working for the last tier 2 on the map here on the top side.
Just more gold, all gravy for LDLC. And you can see it, Misfits, they're committing everyone, Austin. They want to protect this turret as much as they can. Maybe Exakick missteps a little bit, because you got to admit, he's been feeling himself a little bit. Look at that damage. I'd be feeling myself too.
Oh, the poke, it's coming down. Vander throws up the shield, but Woolite is chunked out, and he doesn't have a wave to heal off of.
Nope.
The Bloodthirster is great, but you need to be able to use it in order to get all that lifesteal back. And now with that pressure, Ragnar has also set up the mid wave. They're going to continue to pressure the top wave, and that means that should be the tier 2 also falling here on the map.
Right, it's just going to be that easy. Look at this Aphelios Exakick. He's already at 4 items with that IE build. He hits like a truck, man. It's just so unreal. Unless Misfits can somehow get on top of him, unless Tinks or Irrelevant can catch him out, Misfits, they're going to get whittled down by Exakick, their AD carry.
Tinks looking for anything. He's looking for some scraps in his jungle right now, as they have just been taken away constantly, as LDLC just keep moving in, consuming all of the resources here on the map, securing all of the neutral objectives. A couple of key timers here, a minute away on that Baron. Resets have just come through for LDLC. They're ready to get back out on the map, start setting up all the lane assignments so these waves can start to push in. Exakick going to be very safe here in that mid wave. just holding on, making sure his teammates are back out here. Blue buff looks like it's also going to go over to Ica. Exactly where you want it to go, as he's got 3 items, and he's going to be poking quite a bit now, Beatdown.
7 stacks on the Dark Seal, too. Ica is getting all this extra AP. Should he get to that Medjai's, he's only going to be able to stack it further. I think in the 5v5, it's hard for anybody to get on top of Ica. But if we're looking at Misfits side, I think Chayek is probably going to have to go big here. I mean, he's playing Victor. He's got 3 items. This burst damage is something to fear, Austin. Even in this game state where Misfits are a good amount of gold behind, that's why you take the Ghost, so you can navigate these team fights better. Chayek was the big reason they came back yesterday, so maybe he can do it again today.
Well, we're going to find out here. Might be this team fight or the next. Vander gets hooked up, but he'll be fine. Just starting to move up here with that Braum, as the mid wave is going to be the priority for both of these squads. This mid lane tower not going down here for Misfits is a problem, but how about a TP in the back? Ragnar looking for the perfect execution. Flip, I believe, did end up connecting, and now he goes back in, but he takes the perfect execution right back out. Did invest the TP, but LDLC unable to really find a target to pull the trigger.
And this is tough. Exekick, he has the guns, Austin. It's red and white, and LDLC will be happy to fight, especially with this pressure. Chayek now, both summoners out. The player we were just highlighting might be the last hope for Misfits Premier, as the Baron is going to be poked out, but oh, that's a pick.
There's the hook. Vander's very low. Tink's looking to go in, but it's irrelevant in the back line, and he is taken down first. Tink is going to be locked up. He'll fall second. LDLC, they'll find their window, and they will be able to execute on 2, but they don't feel confident enough to move into the Baron.
The HP is not really there for them, and the damage certainly could have torn them to shreds. They're not going to get greedy. They're not going to bite off more than they can chew. You're just going to see the recalls. Exekick is going to heal off of some jungle camps, and now he's gonna get aggressive.
Whoa, Exekick, he's feeling himself. He goes in 1v3. He's got his mid laner behind him. He's very low, and he'll be taken down. Shayak will shut him out and make sure that the AD carry is no longer on the map.
Yeah, Exekick maybe getting a little too aggressive here, but the right of the arcade got a big threat.
Oh, Shayak.
Oh, yeah.
Heartbreaker. Mid laner's now down. LDLC with the slow chase. All the dodging, all the bobbing and weaving here, Beatdown has slowed down Shayak. They will find the mid laner, and now with Woolite also being eliminated, they're going to start up the Nash.
They're thinking about it. Actually, it seems like they've changed their mind. They know Dragon's up in 20 seconds. Don't want to take any chances. They just want to push in this mid wave, walk down towards this bottom side of the map. This is the win con. This is their Infernal Soul, and the damage would be just unmanageable by the side of Misfits Premier. So this is where this game could end.
20 seconds on that death timer right now for Shayak. He opted into Ghost. Doesn't have the TP to be able to join his teammates. Tinks is in the area, but can he actually get into a position where he's going to be able to steal this one away? Exekick is not in the fight just yet, so it is technically a 4v4, and they feel the need to try to burst this one down. Tinks, does he have it in him? But on the side, Vander's been taken low. He is stalling them away, but Woolite has been deleted by Ragnar, and now it's a fight over the Dragon.
Oh,
it's
he wins!
By Yike, LDLC. They can't lose. Every single team fight, every single objective is theirs.
And LDLC are on their way rather to secure themselves 4-0 wins upon wins, Austin. And Shayak is so low. They could just go right onto him if they really wanted to here. There's still 30 seconds on most of the members of Misfits. I don't think they'll close out here, but inhibs are going down.
They are going down right now. 15 seconds on Tinks. I think you called it correctly. They're not going to look for the end, but they might be able to get 2 inhibitors. That's going to be an exposed mid lane. Second inhibitor should fall in LDLC. They'll make the correct play. They're going to back down, but they have everything they would ever want. They have the Infernal Soul. They have now 2 super minion waves coming and pouring into the base right now. Beatdown, you have a massive gold lead. You are in an excellent position to pull off one more reset and get back on the map.
Right, and we're going to see a replay of this fight here, and a lot of it is that Vander no longer in the picture. It does mean that it's hard for him to actually peel. Well, for Woolite, who ends up getting absolutely demolished by Ragnar. Again, Woolite had so much damage that he could put in this fight, but if he gets assassinated, there's just no way for Misfits to actually come out on top.
Misfits backs up against the wall. What do they have left? They're being poked out They might have to engage sooner or later. That hook just goes wide. Tinks, you feel like, is probably dead in that moment if that hook connects. But we'll be able to now slip away. Those super minions slowly building up. You can see that wave in the bot side of the map right now. That is going to have to be dealt with right now for Misfits, but you also have to worry about this Baron here. So you're in between a rock and a hard place at the moment, Beatdown.
And it's looking like they're going to get smushed in between them as LDLC. They're going to start the Baron, and you see the pings coming through. They know that it's going. Oh my God,
wow,
it's gone!
It's gone!
What?
There was no Baron. It is deleted. LDLC, they have taken it down, back in control. And now the waves certainly have to be dealt with. They're in the base right now, getting closer and closer to those Nexus towers. And LDLC, they are set up in the top lane. They are ready to take down what could be the potential last team fight here of the game.
There it is. There's only one inhibitor left to take LDLC. They're going to make sure they check off all the boxes, Austin. And this is where Misfits make their final stand. Woolite, 4 items on Jinx, and Chayek just finished one of his last items. If they're gonna go big, it's gotta be now.
It's gotta be now. Ragnar in the mid wave, also guiding another wave in. Tinks, they're only engaged more or less, unless Vander could find a window in, but Woolite has been taken low, has to use the Gale Force. Locket comes out as well. Key cooldowns no longer available for Misfits. Now the wave on the towers. Under pressure, under fire. Misfits gotta make a move sooner or later. These are soon going to be double stacked minion waves coming in here with the supers. And that looks like it's the first tower. Someone's got to go. Who's going to make the move? The poke is getting them so low. Woolite's already down to half HP, but Chayek, will he be deleted? Has to flash away to the back line. Another hook is going to connect. They take down the top laner. They're going to take down a second. It is all LDLC. They played fantastic. So clean, so controlled, and they'll find their 4th win of LFL.
LDLC making a very convincing argument.